Good afternoon, His Deck Pathfinders. I've been chosen for today's devotional, and I thank God that I was given this opportunity to be able to lead. My message today will be about God's love and His protection, and how these two things relate to us. Back in mid 2020, around June or July, me and my family moved back to the Philippines mainly due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We lived in Bohol for about a year before we moved to Canada, and during our stay in Bohol, we had a wonderful time and experiences that can never be replicated again. We were able to spend time with our family and enjoy some new things. And one thing in particular that I really enjoyed was being able to raise chicken. So it all started when we first arrived in Bohol. At the house that we stayed in, there wasn't really any internet and there wasn't much to do. It was isolated and far from any major place. So naturally, me and Baby G became very bored. Um, there wasn't much to do and we complained quite a lot actually. So my dad thought it would be a good thing, it would be a nice experience if we would be able to raise chicken. So he bought a few chicks and we started a pen. I really enjoyed looking after those chicken. I would spend hours in the pen just watching them and observing them. I have never really raised any animals aside from a dog, but those chicken were special to me, and I miss them kinda here in Canada. But one moment when the hens started having chicks is something that caught my eye, something that reminded me of the love of God. If you have your Bibles with you, turn to Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 6. I'll be reading in the New International Version, Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 6. And it says, "So be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid and do not panic before them. For the Lord your God will personally go ahead of you. He will neither fail you nor abandon you." As you can see in this verse, Moses is encouraging the Israelites to be strong while facing the enemies, as God was with them. This is also true in hens. When I was observing and watching them, and I looked at a couple of hens that had chicks already, and they would go in small groups. Wherever the hen went, the chicks followed. And sometimes when another chicken got too close to them or started attacking the poor little chicks, the hen would start to become very defensive and would automatically raise her wings to protect the chicks. The chicks would run to her side and would stay under her. This is the same for us. When we are close to God, He guides us and protects us from dangers. He keeps us safe. Another verse that I would like to read from is found in Psalm 119, verses 114. So turn your Bibles to Psalm 119, verses 114. And it says, "You are my refuge and my shield. Your word is my source of hope." Here, the psalmist declares that God is our refuge, a place that we can go to and be assured that we are safe. Every night when the sun goes down, the hens automatically go to their nesting place, and her chicks sleep under her. Sometimes if you go in at night or even during the day when they're together, you can see the little chicks popping out of their wings and how do you call this? They would go crawl under her or sometimes sit up on top of her. It is a nice thing to watch and very calming. The hens would keep the chicks warm and safe from any predators that might harm them. Likewise, we can go to God for our safety. He wants us to be near Him, and He desires that we be kept safe. In fact, Jesus makes mention of this in Matthew chapter 23, verses 37. "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the city that kills the prophets and stones God's messengers. How often I wanted to gather your children together as a hen protects her chicks beneath her wings, but you wouldn't let me." So in this verse, it's very clear that God wanted Jerusalem to be safe under him, but unfortunately, the people wouldn't let him. Sometimes we do the same thing. God guides us and we often go our own way. In fact, one instance when this was something that I could see, something I experienced, was when I was trying to catch one of the chicks and bring them back to the pen. A couple chicks got out of the pen and started wandering across the yard, and I knew that the chicks wouldn't last very long. I managed to get most of them, but there was this one chick that kept evading me. Every single time I tried to catch it, it would always run away. It took me hours, and whenever I stopped, I became worried that the chick might not live. Eventually, I managed to catch it and return it back to the pen. Like this, like how this event distressed me, God is often distressed as we put ourselves in unnecessary danger when we want to do things our own way. So, draw near to God as chicks draw near to their mothers. Thank you for listening, and happy Sabbath, everyone.